Conservation Commission meeting Wednesday, May 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And our 7 p.m. is Building 10 for Lot 2, South Street, Sawmill Brook Lane, continued from April 9th.
All right. Susan and Rick are here for that.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hey.
My name is Susan MacArthur from MacArthur Environmental Consulting. And so for the DEP issued file numbers for lots 2 and 3 since the last hearing where we were before you. And Mary, you have those file numbers. It's 311-0841 and 311-0842. We did, they also had comments in their review, and we did attempt to respond to those comments in a letter to the commission, and I can briefly go through those if you'd like. Okay. Yeah. So the first question they had was, what was the cumulative riverfront area, including the entire parent lot? Will the total riverfront area impact from any activity since 1996, including the current projects, exceed 10%, meaning 10% of the riverfront area? Mass DEP recommends the commission note if future lots will impact riverfront area and keep track of the amount of cumulatively altered riverfront area. So we responded to that with the riverfront area on the total parcel before it was subdivided is approximately 631,525 square feet. Of that, approximately 302,988 square feet is within the inner riparian, and 328,537 square feet is within the outer riparian. Approximately 5,990 square feet of riverfront area is proposed to be altered within lot 2, and 5,436 square feet of riverfront area is proposed to be altered within lot 3. This represents approximately 1.8% of the total riverfront area at the entire property, and thus will not exceed the 10% threshold. Just to answer the 1996 question, the existing driveway and degraded area in the riverfront were constructed prior to 1996. The only anticipated future lot is lot 5, which we haven't really talked about, but that's at the back of the property. And once Rick figures out what he's doing with that and develops, Rick, if you want to weigh in on that, work will be within the degraded riverfront area and will be kept below the 10% threshold.
Yeah, I think most of the commission is aware that we're looking at doing a solar farm in the area. So
yeah. And that is kind of like sand pits now, so there's not a lot of vegetation. I think it could be considered degraded area. Devoid of topsoil, basically, is one of the definitions they use. So the next one, Mass DEP notes a driveway cut between lot 1 and 2. So that curb cut between lots 1 and 2 is an access way for the future lot 5. And it's actually where the existing roadway, the access roadway is today, or was, and it's just located in that area. So it's going to be kept open there. The next one, the submitted alternatives analysis is not adequate. Please use the alternatives analysis to review all reasonable layouts and explain why those configurations were not selected through the perspective of avoid, minimize, and mitigate. And we responded with numerous alternatives were explored when designing the current lot configurations at the property. The sites were designed to avoid impacts to the wetland resource areas to the maximum extent practicable. Therefore, each of the house structures within each lot are located outside of wetland resource areas and their buffer zones. At lots 2 and 3, minor impacts, excuse me, minor impacts due to the creation of lawn are proposed within the outer riparian zones. Riverfront area impacts at lot 2 have been reduced at the commission's request by approximately 2,948 square feet, mainly by reducing the lawn area. And then at lot 3, 4 native trees, red maples and black gum, I think it is, are proposed to be planted within the lawn area within the outer 200-foot riverfront area. So, so that area will kind of remain naturalized. Number 4, question 4, Mass DEP recommends a perpetual condition and a deed restriction that memorializes the limit of alteration to riverfront area. We responded, the order of conditions for each lot will be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, which will serve to notify the future property owners of each lot of specific conditions and restrictions. A deed restriction would be redundant. And also Mary does have a condition in the order of conditions, which, you know, I didn't write in this letter, but to hand out like a pamphlet, basically telling each future lot owner that there's a wetland nearby, there's restrictions on what they can do. There's also bounds that are going to be put in place to kind of, you know, serve as a boundary where they can't work beyond or whatever. Anyway, so that also will serve to notify future property owners. The next one, Mass DEP recommends a condition that requires final conditions match the existing grades and contours for work proposed in bordering land subject to flooding in order to receive a certificate of compliance. And our answer is noted. Yes, we will be filing a as-built, just you know, to get the certificate of compliance anyway. So that will show that we are following the plan as it is proposed. And the last one is based on separate NOI submissions for individual lots on 169 South Street, including DEP file number 3110828. That's the for the roadway where we were before you last, whatever it was, summer, I think it was. The project appears to qualify as a real estate subdivision. That's correct. And will be required to obtain a 401 water quality certification under 314 CMR 9.043. This requirement will be waived by DEP if the proponent places a recorded deed restriction providing notice to subsequent purchasers, limiting the amount of fill for the single incomplete project to less than 5,000 square feet cumulatively of bordering and or isolated vegetated wetlands and land underwater on all lots within the project. We responded, duly noted. We understand that. So, as I said, we have worked with Mary. She's provided drafts of the 2 orders of conditions for lots 2 and 3, and we've gone a little bit back and forth. And Mary, if you want to tell the commission what we're thinking.
Sure. All right, so I think the things that were different for this one was we asked for construction entrances on each property, and they were fine with that. And then we're looking at the one for lot 2. So this one has 4 no disturb bounds.
When are the bounds to be installed?
Well, in this situation, probably they go in after most of the house is done, like when the final grading occurs, because sometimes
Yeah, I understand. I just wanna make sure the bounds are in.
before they get an occupancy.
Yes,
permit,
because we have nothing but problems with homeowners saying they didn't know and all this other stuff.
Yes,
So I just wanna make sure that's the case.
yes, exactly. And then I have, this is a condition is a little bit new, but before an occupancy is given, you know, they have to come to us and let's talk about, all right, what still needs to be done, you know, make sure the bounds are in. The only thing that's left is maybe the grass hasn't grown in. So just we know what's and how, and then is the new homeowner gonna take care of that? Is the contractor gonna take care of it? Like what the responsibilities are.
Okay,
We're gonna do that. And yeah, and so for these lots, I do want ideally this flyer, which is given to new homeowner, I know when you do a house closing, make you sign 3 million papers, but it's some part of that closing process, the flyer to be given, you know, explaining that your lot has riverfront area. Like these lots are very complicated. They have flood zone, there's a
Right.
vernal pool, there's the whatever the Army Corps, there's an Army Corps line, it's a very complicated lot. So just a brochure explaining each of those things, and basically they really can't span their lots at all.
yeah, and that's why I was concerned about the bound, because it is complicated.
And so there's no like, oh, let's cut a few tree downs and put a swing set here, you know, the house the building envelope is as big as it's allowed to get because of the riverfront area restrictions and stuff like that.
Very quick question. That brochure, is that, it wasn't clear, is that something that you're going to develop or you're
I
asking?
think so. We have a basic flyer, and I think I'm just gonna develop like a 1-page, like, just for each one, you know, this is what's on your property and what you're kind of allowed to do. And then I'll hopefully, there may be some, I need to find a flyer somewhere about, you know, oh, I have a vernal pool near me, you know, what can I do to help protect the I need to find that. And obviously we work together on it, give it to you, Rick, to make sure you think looks reasonable.
Sure.
And then one of the other requirements, so this riverfront alterations area is gonna be in the order, you know, stating, all right, this much is gonna be altered, which is 6.45% of the total. And no further riverfront alterations are to be permitted. Now, under the state law, you could go up to 10%, but I think this was our point with reducing the lawn area, that there's no point in going to the full 10%. Let's keep it at 6, because that's already a fairly big alteration. And so that obviously Rick would prefer it if we would allow the full 10%, but DEP recommended, that was their thing about having a deed that the riverfront alterations would not be increased. But I think if it's in the order, and then that this condition would be a continuing condition, it's always with the property.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary,
Yes.
we were thinking that if you could change that to further alteration of riverfront area will require approval from the Conservation Commission, mainly because, you know, there could be minor things that they want to alter within riverfront area, like let's say a tree is hanging over their house or something, and, you know, to say that no alterations shall be permitted, you know, in the future is pretty restrictive. So we thought this other language would be, you know, basically tell the new property owners, like, yeah, you need to go before the commission if you want to do something else, you know.
I think maybe we can put a note in there about trees.
Yeah, because we'd let you take a tree down that might fall in the
Yeah.
house, but
That's
we don't want an area cut out to put in a swing set or.
right. So I feel like the limit of work is still the limit of work. And the other thing that they might be able to do is if there's invasives in there, they could do some invasive management. But really, you know, I don't think we would want any vista pruning, and not that there's much of a view, but I don't think we really want any of that. So, yeah, I don't know what the rest of the board thinks. Stick with the no further alterations. I'll put a note in there about, please contact the board if there's hazardous trees. That's certainly a concern.
Yeah, I mean, we have no, I
Yeah.
mean, we don't want trees falling,
No,
houses or people.
yeah, that's right.
No, but there also are like minor activities that are exempt from riverfront area regulation. You know how the circular reference of 310 CMR 10.02 also cover so minor activities such as like
A trail or something.
yeah, a bulkhead, stacks of firewood, a footpath, minor stuff, things that are, they want to install let's say a cable, for, I don't know, something like underground, using a ditch. What if they want to put a sprinkler system or, I don't know. I'm just kind of, those are all considered minor activities, but they would be within the riverfront area. So again, I'm just saying that language, I think it doesn't really address the things that could be allowed, but they might just need to ask the commissioner come before you.
Maybe we just need to add, very minor activities such as, whatever could be included, but I think the intent is to keep that 6.45% as the number. And so anything which would involve like expansion of lawn or, I don't know, cutting a whole bunch of trees down to put a garden back there, I think, and even stacking firewood, in my mind, that, we made someone move all their firewood out of the riverfront area in another property. I mean, maybe a little stack, but you could go to town with stacking firewood. So,
It's so unclear. We're talking about area that is outside of our buffer, right?
well, the riverfront area, and maybe it is riverfront area is actually a resource area. So like, if you think about it, the law makes it equivalent to a wetland. So it would be like saying, oh, I want to stack firewood in my wetland, or, so even though it's not wet, it actually qualifies as resource area. And that's why we're trying to limit the alterations for it.
Oh,
Well, could you say something like no further riverfront alterations in addition to what is already disturbed or something like that? Well, I mean, well, I don't know. It's up to you, but
Yeah,
isn't the intent, we're disturbing 6.45, right? We have no intentions, or I don't, of disturbing anything outside that. So
right.
I think the comment of no further alteration to the riverfront, which is outside of this 6.45, we're not gonna disturb it. So I think the language is okay the way it is.
okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna drop this thing. That was no further riverfront area. And I'll put something in about trees. Tree removal,
Peasant trees.
other trees. Yeah. And obviously, if someone wants to, put a path in, I think that's fine. But, there's a difference between a path and then, if somebody decides to put a whole bunch of ATV trails, it's like a fine line,
Yeah.
So, and then we did say no pesticides or herbicides within the buffer zone to a resource area.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's pretty much it. This is lot 2.
Right.
And lot 3 is a little bit more complicated. So lot 3, because of what we decided to do with that, if you guys remember, the riverfront area there's grading in the riverfront area, and then we were putting the 4 replacement trees. And so we were talking it over with Rick that once the trees are in and where the bounds are, that's gonna be considered like a replication of riverfront area. So it's gonna, the percentage of disturbance is not gonna include that area because they're actually replacing it. You know, once the grading is done, they're restoring it. So I guess the question on that is, so because I considered it a restoration, I put all the conditions in here about like monitoring it, you know, and, you know, is monitoring required? So I said, you know, put the trees in and seeded with conservation wildlife mix. And then I called, because there's already, if you remember, there's already a replication area on this property for the road. I figured whenever the person's out there to monitor that, they can just go check the trees in this area, make sure they're still alive, make sure there's no invasives. It just seemed to me like it was an easy enough thing, so I did ask for that on here. For the monitoring for this as well as that other one. That's that. And then I need to change this to put the, Susan emailed me the correct numbers, so it's, instead of having 9%, it's actually, what was it, like 2 or 3? I didn't get that, but I will change this before I send it out.
3.6.
3.6, so with that restoration, it brings it down to 3.6, which is really good. So. Otherwise, it's pretty, so these are the orders for both of those. We are approving. And I also emailed out the orders for 1 and 4, but I don't think there was anything. They didn't have any concerns with it. No one from the board mentioned anything, so I think those are okay.
Have those been issued, Mary, the 1 and 4?
I have not officially issued them, but I'll issue them all at once.
Okay.
I could probably do this tomorrow, Rick.
Thank you.
I think if you guys don't have any other comments and everyone's in agreement, we'd be ready to close the hearing and issue these for 2 and 3.
Do any comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? If we have one? Okay, will the applicant like us to close the hearing?
Would you like to close?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a voice vote. Motion closed, second from the commission.
Second.
Let's do a voice vote, Chris, aye.
Tom, I.
Alan, I. Mike, I.
Marcella, I.
Okay, let's vote, commission. And Mary will issue the order
Yeah.
and let you know when they're ready.
Great, thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Have a nice night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so this is block 2 and block 3. We have Anne 1 and 3 Milford Street. 2 and 0 Grove Street. It's continuing from April 9th.
Yeah, and I believe Mike Antonellis is on the line for this, but the only thing we were waiting for was a DEP number, and that was received, and so it's okay to go ahead and issue this.
Okay, so would you like us to close, Mike? Okay, so from the commission, any questions or comments? Okay, let's take a motion to close the hearing from the commission.
So moved. Second.
Okay, let's do a voice vote. Chris, aye.
Tom, I.
Alan, I. Mike, I.
Marcella, I.
Unanimous vote of the commission. And Mary will get the determination out to you and let you know when it's ready. Yeah. So, how's our turn?
We're doing great. We can do Jack now.
Okay.
Oh,
let's
we
hear
got
from you.
7:30, one at 7:28, right?
Yeah.
We want to do 7:30. one.
Oh, Elm Street, yeah, let's do that. That one just needs to
Sorry,
be.
Jack.
Here.
That one needs to be continued.
Okay, so what are we doing until?
Oh, yeah, he never got back to me. I think we said like in July, end of July.
Okay, do a motion to continue in public,
So moved. Second.
favor.
Aye. John, aye.
Marcella, I.
Okay, so we'll continue this until,
I'm with the commission.
is it July?
The second meeting in July, whatever that is, we'll figure it out.
Okay. So. Well, part time. Okay, okay, so Jack, now it's your turn.
You're up.
All right.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, of course, I have, there we go. All right. So good evening, everybody. I'm Jack Maynard, and I, since about mid-January, I've been interning right upstairs, dealing with Upton's GIS. So I'm gonna start off with who I am. I've lived it up my whole life. I attended at the MRSD schools, starting here at Memorial and graduating from Nipmuc in 2020. I actually started at Worcester State as a chemistry major. I found out very quickly I'm not a chemist. So I changed my major to geography, and the curriculum at Worcester State revolves very heavily around GIS, and I took to it instantly. And it's where I want to continue my career. And I'm graduating on Saturday.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Okay. So what is GIS? You may not have heard of it, but it just stands for Geographic Information Systems. You have used GIS if you have punched in an address on Google Maps or Apple Maps. You've interacted with GIS. There's a ton of different GIS softwares for different applications. So you're using something for navigation. Esri is more about data sets and polygons, so that raster and vector data. So like heat maps and parcel data. The industry standard is made by Esri, and it's ArcGIS. The easiest way to explain it is Excel that can map, Microsoft Excel that can produce a map. This picture here is what it looks like. This is what I've been looking at. You can see at the bottom there, that's the part that looks like Excel. That contains all the data. It's an attribute table that has the loc ID, just everything, all the data about it. And then there's the map there in the middle. It's hard to explain how GIS works in just a couple minutes, but this is what it looks like. It's set up kind of similar to Microsoft Word. You can see at the top, you have all the actions. So what have I done? I've moved Upton to ArcGIS Pro. Mike has been doing a lot of the GIS work, and he was doing it on ArcMap, which is also created by Esri, but it's their older version. It's no longer supported, so they don't issue any more updates, and it doesn't interact with the overall Esri suite, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. One of the first things I did was I fixed the Hike Upton map, which Mary just told me is broken again. But we have this map on the town website. It's interactive. You can zoom into all of the trail areas we have. You can click on it and it pulls up a map of the trails. When the town website was updated a couple of years ago, it was broken. And now it's broken again. So I can sign on and fix it again. But it was working, I promise. And then I did update some of the trail maps. In Peppercorn Hill, a couple of the trails here were adjusted. I don't know who did it, but Mike provided me with a GPS file where someone walked the route again. And so I cut up the old one and put in the new one so it reflects where the trails actually are now. I did a property inspection with Valerie. She wanted to take me along and she wanted to use field maps, which I'll get into next. We inspected this property here. these people were bothering her for a couple of months. They said that they had more wetland on their property than was originally estimated. So we went out there and re-estimated how much wetland is actually on their property. And I created a field map for the Conservation Commission, mostly Mary. This interacts with ArcGIS. You can download the map when you create it, and it's going to have all of these points. So this here is a vernal pool, all these red dots here. This is a vernal pool that Mary visited. She went around just with her phone using field maps and using the GPS you have on your phone. She was making data points around the rim of the vernal pool. And then you can go in later and draw over it. So it's actually not a bunch of data points, but rather a polygon, like a lake or something. And my biggest project that took the most time was I created an updated open space map. I have it printed out. It's locked in Valerie's office right now. But the previous one was done in 2020. And then before that, it was a couple of years. So I had a 2007 map also locked in Valerie's office to compare. And you can see that the Conservation Commission has done a really great job at taking a whole bunch more parcels, over the less than 20 years since that last map was created. Great if you could see this in much better quality. But yes, it has all of the state forest and all of the municipal area that is protected by the town. Does anybody have any questions?
I did have a question. What does the red color signify in that last one?
This one?
Yeah.
The red color is the schools.
Oh.
So, yeah, that has PBT and Nipmuc, and then you can even see all the way out here, that little field.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, what, I saw the big piece in the spot, and
Yeah.
looking at.
Yeah.
And the pink, purple, what's that all about?
Good question. I wish I could see the legend in better quality.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Um,
I'm just curious, I assume the green is like state forest or something, the dark green.
yeah, the dark green is state forest. That is
Pink is like private protected,
The-
like privately owned.
Yes, the pink is privately owned and the purple is nonprofit.
Like the Rod and Gun Club.
Oh, okay,
And
the lime green is,
the lime green is, I can't make that out.
it's okay, I just, it's from my curiosity.
Yeah, if it was printed out, once again, it's right through that door there. But yeah, then, it has all the cemeteries and municipal open space also categorized.
Okay. I won't ask you again.
Anything else?
I would think the more green, the better.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mayor, what, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, the open space map took a while. Because I had to download a whole bunch of data from MassGIS. But the MassGIS data is like slightly inaccurate, it's not always perfect. So I had to compare that to the town layer that we have.
So we had an issue, a possible issue. Warrenbrook watershed with Grafton and a homeowner. What we had showed that they were encroached on property owned by the town, but actually when it was surveyed, it wasn't.
Mhm.
So anything, what you're doing, does it make the maps and stuff more accurate? Like, are we gonna still have those discrepancies where, if somebody says, they built a swimming pool on town property or something else, or does this clean that all up?
It's not gonna clean it up, those issues are still. Those issues are still there.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, Sandy actually has a.
Oh, Sandy, sorry.
Thank you.
Sandy, go ahead, please. Sandy has a donation.
Oh,
say plural.
Sandy, were you just wanting to be on as a panelist?
Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to let you know I was here. I've been here for a while.
Oh, we're glad you're here.
Well, Jack has been great to work with. It's been a pleasure to have him, and he did a little GIS training with us too, and hopefully we'll be able to remember it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are you doing after graduation?
So I don't have anything just yet. I've had some interviews. I interviewed with the town of Sharon for a GIS role there. I interviewed like 2 weeks ago. I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh, then I didn't get it. And then they emailed me yesterday saying, if you were to receive an offer, when could you start? I said immediately.
That's what they wanted to hear.
Exactly. And then next week I had an interview with the town of Ashland for a assistant planner position.
Excellent.
So
That's great.
Good luck.
thank you.
Yes, we appreciate all your work,
Thank you very much.
and I would give a good review of Ashland, shot there for 20 years.
Oh, okay, good.
Alright,
So, all right, well, next,
administration report,
So thank you
What's
so
that?
much.
admin report.
no, next we have Melody here.
Oh, there.
Oh.
To talk
I'm sorry,
about,
I didn't.
I snuck in.
yeah.
I know. So Jack, you're more than welcome to stay, or if you need to go on to.
A graduation party.
I have a final to submit tonight, actually.
Oh,
So,
we need to go do that, we understand.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jack.
Okay, so.
Yeah,
So Mary, one second.
all right,
Thank you.
so,
You should probably hear from Melanie.
yeah, I'm just gonna
Here.
put up what. All right. I want to share this and then, let me get started. Melody had sent me an email, which I did forward to Chris, but no one else has seen it.
I voted to my,
Okay. So I put together just from what I this is, a sketch of, where the vernal pool is. The 100-foot vernal pool resource area here. And then the 150-foot kind of no disturbance here. And this is just showing kind of the impact that it would have on her proposed development. This is the area.
Actually, this is what
Oh, did,
Mark Allen.
oh, did Mark put that together?
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
just a little bit easier.
Yeah, of course.
So you didn't send my email, so I had to go through.
Yeah, I said, well, it's Chris and Mike have seen it, but I didn't send it to everybody. I'm a little cautious with my forwarding
you
emails.
can't do that. That's
Yeah,
Oh, it's a
me.
meeting.
Oh, okay.
so,
So this is the proposed possible vernal pool. Still wet, but then we've had a ton of rain this month. So I guess they make an adjustment for that for the end timeline of when, if it dries up, then it's not vernal pool anymore. But right now it's kind of wet because we had a ton of rain. So this is the 100-foot buffer zone, which is what the state mandates to be far enough away from like septic systems. And this is, the town has the added 50 feet. My issue is if they added 50 feet, that it's taking a lot more of my area away from me. And also, this house has been there for 10, 15 years. And their yard comes all the way back to here. And because Northbridge has a 100-foot buffer zone.
right, and that house is in Northbridge, so it's,
Right.
we don't have jurisdiction
Jurisdiction.
over.
Right, you don't have jurisdiction, but my point is, they've been there for a long time and then it didn't seem to impact the little critters that laid their eggs in that little pond. So, you know, this is, if we stuck to the 100-foot buffer zone, and we just have to tweak this a little bit, tweak that a little bit, septic system can stay where it is, because this is already designed, it's not just a proposed, so it's already designed and approved. And to move it, they won't let you just move it. I think most of you know that they're very particular.
It would have to be re-engineered.
Yeah, we'd have to go through the whole 9 yards again, and it takes months. Last time it took me like 2 months at least to get that design. So if we could stick to the 100-foot buffer zone, we could tweak this, we could plant some trees in there and replicate that little area.
So the system is within the, between 100 and 150, is that
Yeah,
correct?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have one issue right now is that Marcel and Sandy can't see this. And
Yeah,
also,
Can you send them a
this-
picture?
Also, this wasn't, I mean, this was, I think we're talking under other topics, not reasonably anticipated.
Well, this, I do have discussion items, 200 West River status. So, and I think.
Oh, okay.
If we were, and I had explained this to Melody, that this is kind of a preliminary discussion, and if we were to approve anything, we would have to do a public hearing, I think. And that's my opinion, that we would have to, if we're gonna change this, so. Go ahead, Mike, sorry.
No, that's okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
One thing I want to add is, according to Channel 5's weather, meteorologists are still under a drought right now. So we've been under that drought for quite a while. So even though we've had more rain, it's still not, yeah, it's still not making up for the drought we've had for a couple of years.
I would add-
What's going way down last month, I
I-
mean, it was probably 10 feet narrower
Mhm.
across.
The vernal pool.
That's irrelevant.
Right, right, it has to dry up in a certain period of time.
Not necessarily, but what, the main characteristics of a vernal pool are the occurrence of vernal pool algal species like yellow spot salamander egg masses, which we found, and a fishless situation. If it holds water year round. It doesn't. And just so you know, some vernal pools don't produce adult, juvenile salamanders and wood trout and things like that every year. Some do, some don't. You know, if it's a really dry year, there may not be any juvenile produced. Another year, there may be. So I think we need to just stay away from this whole question about, you know, how much water is there, is what droppings, what year is it dry year? The key thing is that we already found 10 or 9
9 or 10 egg masses.
9 or 10 spotted salmon eggs, which would be sufficient to certify this.
Yeah, you only need 5.
Right, but they have to be able to grow to adult.
No, that's not true. Yeah, that's not true.
According to my.
Well, your botanist needs to do a little research.
Well, regardless,
So,
let's assume that it is a vernal pool. So, that being said, this is not like, you know, she sent me a subdivision where the vernal pool was in the middle of the subdivision with multiple houses surrounded by streets. This vernal pool is not. This vernal pool is connected to my other 19 acres of undeveloped land, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers land, which has rivers and cranberry bogs, streams and wetlands. So these little critters are really not going to be tempted to go up into these people's yards or up into my area.
so this is my personal opinion. I don't have a problem with your septic system. I could live with keeping it there. That's my own opinion. There are other members of the commission that may differ from me.
Well, this is the variance the town,
Right.
also the town requires.
Right, so
That's a good thing.
I don't have a problem with that staying there, but I would like the rest of it to be replicated.
Well, this will be pasture. It's not gonna be like, I don't know. It's not gonna be like chicken coop or anything like that. This will
But it'll be part of an area that you're going to manage as agriculture, right?
yeah, I mean, this little bit,
Well, that's what I'm saying, so.
but and this would move over, so we could swing that a little bit, we tweak that to get that out of the 100-foot buffer zone. Keep that.
Yeah, so I'm just sharing my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't have a problem with you leaving your septic system where it is. But that's just my opinion, but the rest, I would like it to be set aside as natural area for.
The other 19 acres isn't enough.
Well, so,
They don't go over 19 acres. They're usually relatively close to the ground.
and the salamander habitat is forest, so
Right,
the
that's
field
the-
would
right.
be appropriate for them.
Right, and that's why I was saying that. It's because it is forest that they're looking for. That's what they need. So when they don't go miles from the vernal pool, they're relatively close. So that's just my
How far away
impression.
from the vernal pool do we actually go?
Hundreds of yards.
That's site dependent, but I think,
Cause like where they have a lot of option, we can go this way and this way.
you know, I think if you look at the research, it's probably on the order of, you know, 1,000 meters, 800 meters, but many of them will be much closer, maybe 500 feet. But again, it's totally site dependent. I think if you talk to anybody, including probably your honest, anyone who understands this will say that 150 feet, you know, from the actual pool is really not adequate to protect all the upland habitat that something like spotted salamander or wood frogs are there utilized. This is kind of a compromise in a way.
The state is 100 feet for vernal pool.
And
Up there.
Again-
This
again-
actually, can I,
Again, what I'm saying is that science says that the adult spot salamanders, wood frog, blue spot salamanders, other all the different species range much further than 150 feet. That's well-known science.
so that we probably do make it back to the
Yeah.
their wetland areas.
And so if you consider your alteration, I mean, you're talking about the neighbor here, they have a little tiny bit of yard and you've taken basically 5 acres of habitat and destroyed it. So that's kind of what we're seeing. Now, obviously, we're not asking you to not build on the whole 5 acres, but we're asking for the 150 feet.
Right, but the state line is 100
The
feet.
state line is irrelevant. We have a bylaw that.
I don't know, but about your bylaw, when I went to your site and I typed in vernal pool setback, this is what I got. It says 100 feet plus 30 feet to a building. And then I said that to Mary and she sent me this. So here says vernal pool, here says 100 feet. We have to turn the page to intermittent stream, to land subject to flooding, to buffer zone. And then we see resource area 50 feet for no disturb, you know, so it's like, okay, the resource area is the first 50 feet, and the buffer zone is the next 50 feet. So I totally misunderstood this. And so did my engineer, because I'm the one, you know, that said, push everything as far as you can this way so that my farm animals can have as much pasture as possible. And this is what he read. So that's why this line is where it is. It's where the septic system is where it is.
I think that one of the problems that I think that.
Just like an old, like a.
That's-
like a-
yeah,
an old
so-
fact, An old link or something.
So when we last updated the bylaw, Denise never sent it to the state to get on the E code. So that's not right. And so the only thing, accurate thing we have is the stamped one that Denise stamped. It said it was approved at town meeting. So that, what I sent you was the accurate one, but.
Right,
and
but this is what
That's
my
it.
engineers saw, it's what
Yeah.
my botanist saw.
And
it's what
Denise
I
has just changed, she just sent an updated, I have her on that, so.
Yeah, if you could put like a footnote so other people don't.
No, and that's.
Well, we just need to get it updated, yeah.
Yeah, that's,
But it's always incumbent on the applicant to contact the town and get the actual regulations, the latest regulation. Because websites can sometimes be wrong.
Yeah, my engineers are dealing with a lot of different towns that, you know, they.
and your engineers, I believe, work with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's certainly familiar, Cobblers Creek.
Right.
Tons of work, yeah.
Yeah, he's very much, I believe he's very much aware of what bylaws and laws are.
And
Yeah, I-
the air, I just wanted to bring this to your attention that this 150 feet. Circle is almost double what this circle is.
Yeah.
So this is like over 2 acres of land.
But it's only a third of what it's only a
Yeah, no, but I've already sacrificed 19 acres to the little critters. This is the circle of this.
Right.
If you put this over this, it's more than what I have for my farm.
But they don't seem to
Yeah.
go there.
They're little teeny salamanders.
Also, a couple things, one is, almost certainly before, 2 years ago, so this was cleared. When was this?
It's
When you
been
started?
gradually cleared for a while, yeah.
But whenever prior to the disturbance, you're sure. This habitat, upland habitat. For creatures, so they've already taken a very large hit here. That, from in terms of regulations, we could not have prevented.
But I don't know that this was always wet. My botanist said that very much this could be more wet because of the subdivision across the street. Because they bring all this water from this lower part of this road into this detention basin. He thinks that this is most ground.
Melody, when did that subdivision start? What year?
Well, when they activated this subdivision or this detention basin. It was probably a couple of years ago.
Right, because we have aerial imagery and I found in 2019, you can see that vernal pool clear as day on the aerial.
Yeah, I mean,
imagery.
it
So it's
was-
been there for a while.
It was there, but it dried up faster. You know, I've never seen it.
But that's, they all kind of.
We had to deal with what we see now, but, I want to, I actually. Kind of agree with Tom that at this point. I think we could tolerate the current of the system where it is. But I'd like to see some compensation. And Mary, do you have that, sent you an email?
Oh, yeah, I need to pull it up. I haven't looked at it yet.
Losing this part of my field isn't compensation.
Well, let's just do it. Now, I drew this, maybe you can really expand that a lot,
Yeah.
Mary. But I drew that not having access to this. I assume the house and the septic system were up here.
I'm just gonna open it.
The blue circle is the 150 foot.
Yeah, that's Mary's 150. Yeah. And I took that and drew the pink polygon. And this is just throwing out an idea. Right? Commission hasn't discussed this, it's the first time we've seen it.
Is that, do you want me to zoom in a little more?
Yeah, maybe a little,
Okay. Yeah, that kind of leaves a clean straight line and
and it does require some of the cleared area, like approximately, I think in this corner approximately, would be protected from further disturbance. So you're allowed to disturb some of this area, but not disturbing in here is the compensation. And what I like about this is the critters will kind of perhaps funnel
funnel
in
them.
towards the all this undisturbed habitat.
Right, yep, that makes sense.
I'm just trying to figure out how to give them the best chance of maybe being able to persist given the disturbance that's occurred here. So
Well, I mean, we've already had disturbance here in the, since.
okay, I'm just
I
saying.
really
so-
don't understand the necessity to take even more of my land.
We're not taking.
You are taking,
We're allowing the disturbance here, which, I mean,
which is already in excess of what the state allows
This
or requires.
local laws are allowed to be stricter than the state.
No, I don't think so.
No, you're
Right.
absolutely
that's the whole
right.
purpose of the bylaw. For what the bylaw is to enhance.
In certain circumstances, like maybe perhaps that subdivision where it was, they're surrounded by houses and streets. This is one driveway way up there and 2 dwellings. The impact is going to be minimal.
Well, I think you should consider something like that, maybe not exactly that, but that would get. Get you.
Because I would have to redo my whole stormwater management plan. All those calculations I spent, I know you guys don't care about how much money I spent on it, but I spent it.
Well, we do, which is why the proposal is to not have you re-engineer the septic, that's why. You're always confident of that.
Yeah.
And I would think if Mark could redesign that, I don't know, without doing all the calcs and I don't know if he can or not, to just pull it over. I think in my mind, that would be sufficient.
Yeah, because it's not materially, not gonna change materially the stormwater calculation.
So the area that's zoomed in, septic system would not change, it'd just be moving over what's not,
Could we do a smaller circle, like something more like this? So you go like this. Instead
I
of.
think that's the one.
Instead of going, well, he was talking way over here and
No,
that's.
I don't think so, but if you look at that, what I tried to do is.
Looks like it just goes to this edge down here, right?
There is some area that's disturbed that would be protected. And I'm trying to tie into the existing undisturbed tree line. Based on that imagery is from this year, April.
if the whirlpool creatures would go to the forest, that would be going to that spot. So you're kind of directing them that way. And not affecting what's in the property. You think that would result in Axmark, Ellen? You could do that without a lot of extra.
Okay, what, you're talking about going like this,
Yeah, we should probably
We could
send that diagram.
Yeah. but I don't want it to be that big, that's going all the way over to my loom pile. That's huge, that's a huge.
Well, I think, Mike, if they, that, this yellow triangle is approximately, the disturbance in the vernal pool area. If he can just take that area, whatever it is, I have it as 1,400 square feet or whatever, but he has the exact number, I'm sure. And figure out another polygon kind of in the shape with that area, that would be sufficient. So I think the commission's, or the idea is that we keep the same amount that's protected, just move it. But instead of having it, that way you can keep your septic where it is.
think your pile where it is.
Well, that's eventually gonna go. Anyway, that's my loom that will go back on top of the field.
What livestock do you have? What do you have?
What's that?
What type of livestock?
Scottish Highland,
Oh,
but at this point I can have like one.
Well, take
Or maybe
this is
two.
this is only a third of an acre that we're removing it out of the 5 acres. It's not a huge amount.
Well, this would be much better. Well, I mean, it's not just that, I mean, the whole swale that I had to do, I mean, normally the fence could have gone like that. But now it's gonna go like that, so I mean, you don't realize how much acreage I'm losing just on the storm. So, you know, I just feel like it's getting chunk. Pretty soon, I'll have to move my house up here, no.
so the stormwater management plan is separate from the vernal pool.
I know, but it's
Right.
still taken away from what my usable area, so. It's a little,
How much land does the Scottish Highland need?
1 acre per cow. So
So
this is 2
Just
acres.
got 5 total.
This is a little over 2 acres, that's what the vernal pool takes up. So they say I've got 5 acres. But I don't see it. I see, especially when you take out the yards. Yeah, it's like 2 acres. No, maybe they're probably counting the whole driveway and the orchard up front.
And Melly, I did a polygon on your whole disturbed area, not including the driveway. It's just the disturbed area. It's exactly 5 acres. Disturbed area it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Can they graze in your yard?
They're a little heavy to be on top of, even the septic system. My septic system is here, so I'll probably put some other smaller, creatures over there or calves, so.
But that
Maybe
update,
over as
Mary,
calves, they take less, they don't
Right.
eat as much grass.
can that be sent to Melanie? You can send that to her and then maybe you just have it sent to you and you can send it to Mark. You can.
But I can
put you
tweak it
on-
back, cause
Well,
that looks like a huge
well,
area.
What, well,
want an equal
what's
area.
gonna- Yeah, it's gonna be an equal area, so the point is we can't decide anything tonight anyway. So if you bring it to Mark, bring in get on the agenda. And we can have, another layout,
Right, and I think,
and we can then discuss it.
yeah.
And come to a decision or conclusion.
And I think the board needs to consider all right, so we had told Melody she did not have to file a notice of intent. So at this point, and I had told her if she wanted a variance from that 150, that she would have to file a notice of intent because we can't issue a variance under the stormwater bylaw. I think we can still do this under the stormwater bylaw. But I think we need to call this an amendment to our land disturbance permit, right? Because now we have a vernal pool on it. And so that's what we would advertise for, okay? And
So I have to do another whole public meeting and mailings and stuff.
for an amendment, yeah, I think you have to do mailings for an amendment. Yeah, did we have any abutters show up last time? I don't remember, I don't think so,
No,
yeah.
the earth removal part they did, just the immediate ones,
Right.
because they don't like it.
Well, sometimes
Yeah.
represent the notes and the survey mailing, if you go and get people to sign.
Right, yep, there's that too. But yeah, I think we should do a formal amendment process for this. And I'm still developing the paperwork. But whatever we come up for the land disturbance permit, whatever we come up with is gonna get recorded. And it's gonna require an as-built plan, when you're all done. And we'll probably have some perpetual conditions about the pool. And I probably bounds along that line, right?
Right.
The line, bound could be on the line.
Over here,
Yeah, well,
Wherever
yeah,
in the
wherever
village.
lines would be.
Yeah,
Should
so
the bounds be trees?
No,
No.
We could allow big boulders
right,
with
Right.
the thing.
they're typically like a 4x4 concrete post that sticks out of the ground a foot with a little marker on it, so they're not too intrusive.
Right.
The boulder would be bigger, but it would be more natural.
but you always can die.
Right,
Till we
and
got through.
but if you had big boulders on your property you wanna move, we could accept those as one.
And to see the cost, if you have the public knows, you can bring it to people and them, sign that they saw it. Rather than mailing to them, people have done that before.
And one thing about that polygon is it does look kind of big, but some of that area is within the 150-foot zone,
Right.
okay?
Yeah, that's probably why it's.
That's why it looks so big, but what we're really talking about is the area that you're encroaching within that zone needs to be compensated for. So the compensation there is actually mostly, the part of the pink polygon that's to the south.
This one.
Right.
But that should be the same size as the orange one top and.
Right, yeah.
Still looks twice as big.
Yeah, so I mean, you may not.
Not really.
It's the pink polygon is a little bit misleading in terms of not, it's more than just compensation,
A market figure.
Right,
but, so the key thing, maybe Mary, you could explain it again.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is the encroachment needs to be located at least one.
Yeah.
Outside of the resource area.
so not to be over burdening you, but they're trying to help you with your need and also protect the resource.
I think you just go to the earth removal permit. So. Hearing closed, or a second.
Yeah, that's passed.
It's been approved.
So an issue.
We're the only thing holding them up from the building permit right now, I think.
I got my building permit the same day you told me about vernal pool.
Um,
The same day, and I'm like, really?
Do we have a copy of that? Earth removal? I just want to see if there's any, what if any conditions?
Oh, that's a good point. I'm not sure that, let me check another copy.
Sometimes make a building for us and then upon upgrade and review. What other smaller features we have? Farm, livestock.
Chickens. I was thinking about the pigs, but my daughter doesn't. She says they're too cute.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
You have to get ugly pigs. But not a lot.
Does Upton have a bylaw on hog?
They do.
I
You have
thought
to
they
be
did.
500 feet from
Yeah,
anybody's house,
okay.
Wow.
except the farmer's house.
Yeah, that's what I think, so.
No, sheep can wreck us pasture.
Oh,
So I've considered goats if the, I don't have no space for their house.
Oh.
Do goats, because they're better on the pasture. And they'll eat things that other animals won't eat,
well, if you have chickens and a rooster,
invasive weeds.
the roosters can quite loud, my neighbor has a rooster,
No,
and hear them all the time.
I got one of those.
Mammoth gene.
We're just layers,
Oh.
not the meat chickens.
I was just in Texas
They had
last
meat
week.
chickens one time.
Saw some of the long
And
ones.
yeah, there were a few roosters in there, because of course you're gonna get both. And the roosters are gonna be the bigger ones
My
anyway.
neighbor in Rack has a rooster and you're all
And
day.
some snake.
Yeah.
It's not just in the morning or anything, because all day,
Right.
so it might affect your quality of life.
And there's so much installation because of the stretch code, we won't hear anything, so
Oh.
I'm quite certain.
So at this point, Mary,
We
what's
won't
the
have to
next step?
hopefully not spend anything on heating her house,
I don't
right?
know what it is.
Right.
Well, inflation.
So they say.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe the price of the heating system.
Oh,
Oh,
Don't
really?
need to stay away from this.
Well, it was
I
on the
was like, oh,
road,
you
so
can heat it
I
with a
went over
candle, oh, good.
the deal.
Here's your
It's
quote
rattling
for
still.
$190,000. Wow, thanks. That's a really big candle.
I couldn't tell what it was.
Expensive candle.
I think it had round eyes.
layers and layers and layers.
Yeah, and that's
Safe,
for my
yeah,
daughter's
still
house,
not
I
like
got
it
a
is.
price for mine.
Oh.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
it got off the
lagging
road.
behind.
Oh,
I
wow.
just, I had no idea what it was.
It's still in the permitting
Oh.
process.
Wow. So Mary,
Texas,
what's the next step?
Well, this wasn't a formal hearing, and so I don't think we have to make a motion unless the board wants to make a motion with this recommendation to move forward. I think maybe a motion on to agree on what we discussed. That we would approve of this configuration once it's designed, and we have to have a public hearing to go. So, makes sense.
I don't feel qualified to vote since I didn't see all the materials.
Well, yeah, it's, no decisions are being made today. It's just, we discussed general parameters of what at least the members here are looking for in the town.
Yeah.
And she's going to go back to the engineer and then come back with things where we can all see it and vote on it.
I think the thing that you're missing, Marcella, is that the engineer plan shows where the septic system is, and it's approximately right here, right? It's like halfway in,
Yeah.
and it's entirely
Along
within
that
that.
line.
It's not within the 100, but it's within the 150.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the house is over here, right? It's out, completely out.
yeah, it's like 40 feet
Yeah.
away or something like that.
Yeah. So,
So I mean, she can abstain.
right, that's fine.
Mhm.
But it's true, she wasn't really able to participate.
Right. So what do we need to do?
A motion to agree upon
Or coming back the next meeting?
at the public hearing
Okay. Is that,
with a notes intent.
Just an amendment to this land disturbance permit.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's discussing with her engineer, or
Right.
Right.
decide if that's the
Right.
path they wanna go forward, or if they wanna propose an alternate path,
Right.
if they
Right.
decide to, you know.
But you're willing to accept
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we think that's the least costly and least obtrusive solution for you, but Mark may come up with something else that
right.
we would be happy with if it's even less obtrusive.
It'd be great if Mark, ever comes up with, he can send us a digital copy, so then everyone can see it.
Yeah.
So what is the motion?
A motion to
The amendment?
recommend that Mike's conceptual plan would probably be approved as a possibility, right? That's basically what we're saying,
That,
or one to
the
one,
commission would consider.
Yeah, the 1-to-1.
yeah.
Yeah, would consider allowing the encroachment in the under 250-foot zone, so long as it was compensated to the what direction is that, southeast. To the southeast of the mineral resource area, something like that. And, you know, I would, Mary, I would maybe send them clean imagery too, as well as this,
Okay, yeah,
so Mark can see where the
where the pool is.
where the pool is and where the disturbance is. and
Yeah.
What we want to try to, again, we want to try to broaden that connection a little bit. For critters moving to the south.
And the connection will be towards the forest.
Yeah, this is all
Yeah,
forest
right.
right here. This is the
And that's
property
flood-
line
is that
that.
flood
It's
zone
also
there?
huge.
Is that cross area
forested.
flood zone? Is this area flood zone? Yeah, that's the one zone. It's
So
the FEMA flood zone. Yeah.
I second the motion.
So voice vote, Chris, I.
Aye.
Aye.
Marcel abstain.
Usually.
Sandy abstains.
Two abstentions. Yeah. Majority abstention, who's on?
Can you send me that picture too?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're copying on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll send it to you.
Yeah. Now, Melanie.
I think so. So rather it not be a vernal pool now.
But nature is always.
Your grandkids will
Yes.
find salamanders that could be fun.
I've never seen anything down there. That's the amazing thing. It must be a little hiding seat.
Underground, most,
Yeah.
natural dells,
Underground.
underground, most of the
Yeah.
waters.
Explain it.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
for coming. Okay, now, the RDA for 75 Melon Street.
We did that one, yeah.
July, second meeting in July.
Yep.
Okay, what time?
Maybe 7:15. Okay.
7:15. And we have a certificate of compliance for Cloudland Farm Road, the 11-0769, 11-0787, and 11-0780.
Yeah, and so we need to continue these. We're still waiting from plans from Allen Engineering.
Okay.
We're busy.
Okay,
And, but they did fix, I was out there with, John today and they fixed most of the problems.
Okay.
The on-site problems, we just need to fix.
okay,
So next
So-
meeting for that too.
okay, so.
And I won't give it a ton.
Okay, so here. Okay. So Mary, what should we do next?
Yeah, you could do the few discussion items or we can just go through reports, whatever you think. We already did 200 West River.
Okay, and summer intern,
Summer intern. Yes.
That's just the job description, right?
Yeah, well, they may have advertised it today. Let me check the website and see if it's up.
Nothing to discuss.
okay,
No, I think there may be, I think maybe a little bit of discussion. Let me just see if she posted it. And if not, I did include it.
So she had a biologist tell her something about the vernal pool drying up, it's not a vernal pool or something.
About, I think 5 versus 9 masses.
Yeah.
But, we don't know what the biologist said really, so,
I guess that's true.
yeah.
We weren't there.
And she did use the word botanist.
Botanist.
How
Oh,
much that person.
well, see, I was gonna say botanist, but I'm saying, why would she be asking about?
right,
So I said biologist. Yeah,
She said botanist classes.
Right.
So.
only they didn't charge her a lot.
If you got her, if you got her all the permits ahead of time.
Yeah.
If
you don't get
Or
these
if
in.
you got a permit,
Right,
all of that would have all shown up.
Right,
right. Well, I mean, I think the vernal, yeah, vernal pool. So this is the ad that Sandy put together for today.
What's your title of the position?
So she did change that.
Excellent.
Yeah. The time frame, July to September, I guess, you know, obviously, hopefully these things are negotiable, but we may not get someone that soon anyway, until then anyway. She kind of focused on the manual labor part, didn't mention anything else in terms of like working with volunteers or anything, and maybe that was part of one of the issues. But she did put in for almost $20 salary, so I was pleased with that.
Yeah.
Because she had been saying minimum wage, which I think is 15.
Oh.
Um,
Wouldn't it, anyone?
I know, and then she was saying 15 to 19 hours a week. I think if I'm supervising the person, that may be realistic. I don't know if that'll cut out some of our pool of people that are interested. But I think everything's kind of negotiable to some extent. And I know Marcella had concerns about
Supervision.
well, is it realistic to send a college age person out with a brush hog by themselves in the? And I think that's a good question for people to discuss. And I don't know what the DPW's, how they work with their, because they have a few college kids they hire, whether they're always working in a team, or what.
Right.
Because they're mowing lawns and doing emails.
Well, just historically land stewardship, and we've borrowed,
There's always two
there's
people.
always been 2 people there.
Yeah.
An operator and someone walking ahead looking for holes,
Right,
just to be there in case something happened.
Right.
There's no reason why that couldn't continue.
okay.
We still got land stewardship committee and
That's true.
volunteers.
So it just, okay. In yeah, as to whether they do anything by themselves in the woods, like hanging up, I guess we could talk about the danger, like using the brush hog is obviously
Right.
more dangerous than maybe putting up little trail markers. And I guess my hope is that that whoever would apply would not be someone who's, some people are prone to getting lost and some people are not.
Yeah. You might want to have 2 people doing it, someone just their ankle.
Right, well, there's that too.
I don't,
Tom's like you walk the woods by yourself all the time, right?
I just think we make this more complicated than it needs to be. I
Right.
get the brush hog thing, but back in the day, I did landscaping. I had a brush, they dropped me off
Oh,
and I brush hog and they went to other places.
Yeah,
But I accept the fact that it can be dangerous. Okay, so I'm not arguing that point, but walking on trails and banging up, an envelope or something, you should be able to do that. Like, you shouldn't have to have a team of people walking through the woods to bang a sign up on a tree on a trail. So that's my thought.
A little bit of instruction or training,
right,
don't,
Or hit your thumb with it.
if you encounter somebody, don't back off. If there's any hint of an issue.
right,
Well, yeah, and right.
Some people might not know that, though, they might,
Right.
they might try to aggressively.
In the woods, banging up a sign.
No, I'm not talking about that, but if it's some guy who's camping,
oh, right,
off the
right,
trail at Pepper
Right.
Corn,
right,
or if it's, some ATV person.
I found some of them, those campers.
We don't want our land steward to get into,
No, I would hope they would know better.
well, yeah, but we gotta make sure that.
Right.
We don't
You have
want
to
someone out there alone.
plan.
And it's very different for a woman than it is for a man, Tom.
it's true, yeah.
Sure, I'll accept that also.
Again, we've got this land stewardship committee, hopefully this person would be willing to work on Saturdays or Sundays,
Mhm.
Scout's gonna be back. He's still on the committee. We've got other people who will participate in, basically land stewardship with one more body
Yeah,
to work with over the summer.
So how come we don't get paid?
Yeah, well, maybe
It's
someone should apply.
So is it?
Yeah, right, you wanna apply?
it's true, $20 an hour, Marcella.
I'm thinking about it.
Plan for the best
Carry
and
water
for
up.
the worst.
What's that?
The other way around, plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And if it's somebody who's not local and not familiar with the properties, they're gonna have to have somebody, show them around. I mean, I assume they're gonna be good with a map if they're gonna be hired on, but, you know, some of the properties might need a little, require a guide. Just the first time around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we should go over to the administrator's report.
Good idea.
Yes, very good. I did a site visit at 17 Glenview, the one that Jack mentioned, but I went separately. She's funny, she has a swimming pool and she says she gets salamanders in her swimming pool.
Wow.
And she sees a ton of salamanders, which I think there must be a lot there, because it's funny what Melody said. I have never seen a spotted salamander in the woods, you know, and I'm out a lot. I've never ever seen one.
I sent a picture to everybody.
Yeah, you Melody, I have never seen one. I've seen the egg masses, but I've never seen an adult. I've seen the little redback salamanders, but not the spotted ones. And so she says she sees a ton of them. So she was hoping, she's like, well, maybe I have a vernal pool nearby. So she wanted me to come out and look for that. But she just has wetland and there may be a vernal pool. She's kind of near the Cook property. There may be vernal pools there, but
Yeah, I used to hunt out there. So there is some wet areas. I don't know that.
right,
if
yeah,
there's
she's
vernal
like
pool or not.
behind the storage units.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's, so there's wetlands. So got the dentist there, right? Not the
The
dentist.
cardiologist.
The cardiologist.
Yeah, yeah.
So you go back there and you kind of go to the right and it's a wetland down there. It doesn't appear to be a vernal pool, it's just a wetland.
Mhm.
But then you go out behind what used to be the hotel and the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And you go out there and there is an area out there that appears to be a vernal pool, although I've never been out there
In the
in
spring.
the spring.
Right.
I've only been out there in the fall. So they're very well, there could be, I don't know that, but there could be.
Okay, yeah. Behind the old hotel.
Yeah. It's all coastal back there now.
Okay. So you're not going back or anything?
No, I don't go there with Doug, they sold it and
Yeah,
everything,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
so, no, I don't go back there. I used to keep bees there, just
Wow. Are they apartments now?
nothing. Oh, well, the restaurant, I don't know what the restaurant is. I was talking
Yeah,
about
the
Cook's.
restaurants, apartments.
Yeah, I was talking about Cook,
Oh.
Doug's property.
Yeah. Lots of stuff parked there.
Yeah,
Does the guy
that's,
from Mendon buy it?
I don't know who bought it, but obviously Milford's renting it, because they got the Milford fire trucks,
Right,
Milford
right.
ambulances. You know, he's got the big yard back there, and then behind it's a big swamp. A lot of guys duck hunt back there, and then you've got the gun club, I believe. Back there also with the Beagle Club
Yeah.
and the stuff, so. There's a lot back there, it's a nice piece of property, I don't know what's gonna happen
Right, right.
to the yard. I don't know what they're gonna do. My guess is they'll put up apartments or homes, I don't know.
I thought I heard it was the Imperial guy.
Right,
from
right.
Mendon.
Oh.
Nian,
Yeah, he's bought a lot, so.
So he bought that property too.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
someone told me that. I
Yeah.
heard that.
you know, Hyundai dealership.
Yeah.
He bought it.
That's what-
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, they're not selling very well. BYD from nineties.
I saw something, $800 million inventory of Tesla trucks.
Oh,
Wow.
Very good.
Ugliest looking things that,
Yeah.
it's not, you can't really call it a truck.
Yeah,
It's not big
yeah,
stuff.
I would.
How did they ever came up with It's just it's totally not political or anything.
No, I
It's just,
yeah, yeah.
and then it does, and
It's like the Hummers, it's like, if you want a status symbol, cool, but you're not gonna be hauling art mulch in that thing.
Things are indestructible, I guess.
It does look,
I
it was
would,
very
I
nice.
would, I wouldn't.
So they
like to
need
take
more
my deals,
in, so,
I just wouldn't, I wanna be able to
so thank your husband
just
Oh, yeah.
go.
for allowing me to
Wanna
write
have
it.
to worry about having enough electricity or taking a long time to charge, I just,
Hybrid, then, you know, hybrid is free.
I could consider a hybrid. I would consider hybrid, but I would never buy, at least in this point in time, ever buy an electric vehicle. Okay, I did buy a stock. though. Took it, when it got hit hard, it's doing really good now.
yeah,
Well, he's a very bright guy. I bought him more for his robotics and all that stuff and the new technology where the people can't speak or whatever, and now they can,
Neurolinks.
yeah, and now they can speak. and
Yeah.
It's remarkable. Getting people out from the space thing. I mean, the guy is a brilliant, brilliant man.
So Mary, what's that picture?
All right, so this is just some of the, this was an administrative land disturbance permit at 64 William Street. They're putting in a farm, just I think a tin building on a slab or I can't remember, either that or a gravel. I think it's on a slab or a gravel pad, and it's going approximately here. There are wetlands relatively close by. I decided it was fine to just do this.
Is that part of pasture or something?
Yeah, but they're, he has this agricultural exemption.
Right,
So the
exactly,
cows
right.
are, they're all in the wetland.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is. And these are more, this is the 15 West Main Street lots, which are also administrative land disturbance permits. So this is 3 houses. This is lot 3. This is lot 4, which is up on a hill. Driveway's gonna go onto Mechanic Street. Oh, and I stopped by the people who put that shed, and it seems like it's pretty stable there, but he still hasn't put the bounds in. And this one was another one, the third lot of the 15 West Main Street parcel. And when I first went out there, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Because this is the erosion controls and I'm gonna build the house right here and the wetland flags are way over there, supposedly 100 feet away. But it's just a funny lot. I think the soils, I checked the soils, they're all non-hydric. But so here we are standing near the wetland looking towards the erosion control line. There's a few skunk cabbage in that buffer zone. I thought potentially about making them do a peer review, but I ended up changing my mind. And just let them do it. So I think, Goddard, they do have a wetland report from Goddard. So the line was delineated and I wasn't sure how much to push back on this. So they're putting a house in there. And I was there recently. They've cleared all the trees now. I think, did I put that picture in?
So where is this now?
So Old Grafton Road, so as you turn on the street, you got the wetland on the right,
Yeah.
a few houses, so it's right after the wetland. In the woods there,
To the left?
on the right, so you go past the wetland. And then, it gradually gets more trees, so it's the buildable area is really only in elevation, it's only like 3 feet above the wetland line. So it's gonna be, I just feel like it's gonna be a wet lot, even though it may not be delineated as well, they're gonna have water.
And you said it's on Mechanic?
No, so this one is on Old Grafton Road, so there's the parcel, it has this one, and then there's a piece on Mechanic that enters on Mechanic Street, and then there's that, the little piece that's off Main Street, with the blue house and.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So those are those, and they're going forward. This is Eastland that's doing it. Trees are already cut. After I was out on the site.
Do they have town water and sewer?
All right, good question. I think there are septics going in on at least one of those lots, but I don't think all of them. I do have the plans, if you want me, we can pull up them. Can't remember. Yeah, because that lot, the one near the wetland, it's just like, yeah,
Right everywhere.
yeah. Just, pre-construction meeting, this is a picture of Melanie Vernal Pool.
Oh,
It's, and it's, I didn't tell her this, but this is, I evaluated 4 vernal pools this year. This is the biggest and prettiest one. It's a really nice vernal pool. Really, really nice. And here's this is the other one that Mike and I looked at in Pleasant Woods. It's not nearly this nice. My husband and I went out 2 weeks after I did the evaluations, and there's still water, there's definitely, you can't see the egg masses so much, but the tadpoles running around, so still healthy. And that was before the rain, when it was starting to get a little dry. This is Rick's, he's got the road in, 169 South Street, he hasn't paved it, but it's all prepped. And, this is 52 Elm Street, the egg masses there. And 16 Menden is starting, it's the subdividing the lot, putting another house in. So this was another administrative land disturbance permit. Oh, and Bill had asked me to look, and Bill isn't here today, is he? Maybe
No.
this. Bill had asked me to look at 130 High Street. So this was a little sneaky. He called me, he's like, oh, can we pave it? Now they had an RDA for doing the septic. And I said, okay, well, as long as, if you're just paving, what you had is gravel, fine. So when you look at the aerial imagery, they expanded it 6 feet towards the wetland.
wow.
It was not a lot, just a little, but they're not, I think they didn't move the bounds or anything, so I don't know that we're gonna talk about it. The wetlands still, it's a small lot. And they did, and that one area that had been lawn is restored now as wetland. There's skunk cabbage growing in there, so that part actually looks really good. So I guess we just leave that one as it is. And it's something for you guys to consider. I know in Webster, anytime we did a septic repair, it was always a notice of intent. And I know you guys historically have done determinations for them, which I think is fine, but then it leaves us in situations like this where if there's not, we have a little bit less protection if they just do something funny. I don't know, they might have just done this anyway, so with a notice of intent. Few other cider mill, they've just cleared. This one's going along fine. I still need to talk to Grace. She did this whole thing without contacting me. Like we were supposed to have a pre-construction meeting, all 9 yards. She did the whole thing, but it looks beautiful. I did go over there. It's really well, done. Erosion controls are in good shape. It looks like a really nice job.
One thing about sidewalks in general, I don't know if this is too picky, but the irrigation pond, there's supposed to be a safety fence on it.
Oh, the one down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And now that, they're gonna start attracting humans to
Right.
that side of the road. I mean, a kid could die in that pond, because.
Well, there's one even closer. This one's right. I'm standing on the parking lot and looking at that little one.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the slope is on Little,
Yeah,
but the new one, the big one, is a very steep slope.
Yep, it does.
Someone, even an adult
Right.
could slip and end up with their head underwater before they even knew. And there's supposed to be a fence around, shows on the plan,
Right.
and I don't know, you might wanna just
Bug
tinker
her
on
on
that
that,
someday.
Yeah.
Next time you're talking.
Well, she has I guess, I don't know if the barn's done. I don't think she's closed out any of her orders that she has that are open. And the irrigation pond, they're still supposed to be redesigning it, I think, because it dried out last summer.
That would be good to talk to her about that. That's my friend, someone could drown in there. They had someone who fell into a river pot and drowned. And they found the little kid a couple weeks later. And we don't want it up to me on that.
No.
And her business plan is to,
And
attract
cover the secret.
customers to that side.
If they weren't attracting customers, I wouldn't worry about the fence, but they are supposed to be having people and they're trying to make it a place where people go and spend time and walk around.
Your insurance would probably want that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the point.
Right.
Yeah, that's the
That's the
main,
point.
that's the, yeah.
Your insurance probably cancel it right away if they saw it didn't
Yeah.
have it there.
Yeah, and 123 Grandview Street, they've been so good, you know, it's funny, we have the continuum of people who call ahead of time and people who don't. They called ahead and they just wanted to move their rain garden a little bit of ways, and they sent me updated plans and everything, and I told them. That's it for that.
Well, having to have people like that to counterbalance and those don't.
Yes, yep.
Does anyone have questions on Mary's update? Okay, so now we have the administrative report.
All right, so there's 3 sets of minutes, and it was a lot to go through. Able to do that or not.
So.
Your documents or.
Do you have the date?
And we do have documents. The dates for the minutes are January 8th, February 26th, and March 12th.
So, motion to approve minutes from January 8th.
Second.
And two votes for Chris, I.
Tom, I.
Alan, I.
Abstain.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, so.
Andy. Andy. It's gone.
So it's 3. We have 3 people,
Woof.
so. So we have 4 people, so that would be enough people to approve that one. And how about the February 28th?
So moved.
Second.
Let's do always vote, Chris, I.
Tom, I.
Alan, I.
Like abstain.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that one passes. And how about our March 12th?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's do a voice vote, Chris, I.
Tom, I.
Alan, I.
Abstain.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
Okay, we have a majority vote for that one too. Thank you for bringing all those in. And so now, the documents to sign, we have,
The 2 lot 2 and 3
Okay.
Sawmill Brook, and then this is the Anrad on top.
Just check.
we have the minutes.
Do you usually sign minutes? Did you used to sign them?
Yeah, usually.
So lately, what we've been doing is just putting everybody to use the button. But in Webster, somebody always signs them.
Oh,
No.
So if you remember signing them like before COVID.
Yeah.
I will absolutely start doing that.
okay, thank you.
So I'll just have to print that out.
Okay,
Was it everybody or just the chairs?
Chris, you're gonna have to sign that.
okay. We all have time, but thanks.
Did you guys all used to sign the minutes when we approved them? Everyone would sign off on them? You don't remember? Yeah.
Okay, do whatever you want.
So we can have Webster, just the chair would sign.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, but Sam, you're right. Okay, just do that.
Yeah.
Stamps are good, it's good.
I know.
I know.
We should get a stamp with everyone's signature. I got a pass.
Just kidding.
3 things here.
Here
Okay,
you go, Mary.
now, fix the structure.
Yeah, and
One that Chris has to sign.
Yes.
One.
Yes, you gotta sign that down.
Okay, thank you.
the two, and I didn't actually, because I don't know, today got out of hand and I should have done the numbers earlier. So there's two things. One is from Forestry Supplies, signs, $500 for the signs. And the other thing is just my mileage.
So move.
Okay,
Second.
let's a voice vote, aye.
The
Aye.
mileage was
Aye.
$41.
Marcel, I.
You got the,
Sandy, I.
Okay, it's Minnesota Commission.
you got the bill, did we get the bill for you got the bill for Beaver Solutions, right?
He hasn't sent the bill yet. I mean, he said he, but I don't think he sent the invoice, did he?
Yeah, I just saw it right before I came.
Oh, like just like this afternoon?
He sent it today. It was sent to me, you, and just Beaver Solutions came from Mike.
Yes.
There it is.
Oh,
What's that?
sure enough.
There you go.
Should we
Okay,
approve
well-
that too?
Yeah.
Let's approve that too.
Okay,
Move to pay the invoice for Beaver Solutions.
one second.
Second,
Okay, let's a voice vote, Chris, aye.
Tom, I.
Alan, I.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
Okay, Minnesota Commission.
And again, I did not do the financials.
Okay,
I'm gonna do it like tomorrow. It'll
okay.
be all done for
You're
next
still in
month.
line. That's good. How about, open space?
Open space, that's it.
Yeah, I think Bill's here. He's raising his hand. Oh, I gotta promote him panelist.
Bill, what's your open space report?
Open space, a meeting tomorrow, Tony Schiavelli of SVT and I are meeting tomorrow with members of the family of the Bay Mountain Road property, so hopefully they'll be able to tell us what they want to do tomorrow and we can proceed accordingly. I did get title reports for the Lake Wildwood land, which confirmed there is no deeded or easement access to the land over the railroad, which is what we expected, but now we can use that as an opportunity to restart the conversations with the estate. So that's where we stand with that. I think that's it. Oh, I did attend a webinar today about the spotted lanternfly. Very interesting, and did come away with some specific recommendations we can make to visitors to Heritage Park. So that's a good thing. And I did learn, and this is for Tom, that the lanternfly basically creates honeydew, and there are some bees which will use that honeydew to make their honey. And there have been people with hives that have been mostly lanternfly honeydew, and they actually are marketing their honey as lanternfly honey.
Yeah, so I know some of my colonies are getting some of that because when I go in and spin out, take frames out in, early July, sometimes there'll be areas of very dark honey. And that is actually the honeydew, the lanternfly stuff. Because in this area in the spring, we never get dark honey. We don't get that till the fall.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's what they're getting.
So where is that area? Should we go over there and try to get rid of the egg masses or whatever else is out there?
The concern of bees getting it is not really the issue. The issue is the lanternfly itself and the harm it does.
Right, that's what I mean, is if it's an area that we can try to tackle or, identify as a problem area.
So here's the thing, so not all the colonies, I have colonies in 5 areas, so not all of them bring it in. But the bees will go, you know, good habitat, they'll go 2 miles.
Hmm.
So, you know, let's just say my house has lanternfly, you know, honeydew in it. Well, you know, you're looking at a 2 mile circle around my house, you know, that could be coming from, so,
Yeah,
you know, it's be hard to identify.
yeah, that makes sense. But it just suggests that it has moved beyond Heritage Park.
Yeah, it's clearly, yes, I guess that we could say that, but you know what I can do is this year. I can make a note of the colonies that have it and just for people's information. And I can tell you, you know, Westboro, Upton, then whatever, wherever it is, I'll make a point. To look
What's
at
the
it.
I take it tastes different. What's the difference in flavor?
Well, I don't,
It's all blended, you know.
right, so that's the thing, so in the spring, I take spring
Oh,
fragrance.
okay.
So, so it's, you're spinning out and it's mixed in with spring, what I'll call spring honey. And then the stuff that's in there that I don't spin out for whatever reason, the frame isn't fully capped. That goes with the fall honey. Now, the fall honey is darker anyway, and it's for no better reason, I'll use the term bolder tasting honey. It tends to be around here, goldenrod, knotweed, asters. So again, it's not the majority of what you get. So it just kind of like Alan said, it just kind of gets blended in,
Okay.
so.
And how are our land search at committee?
Gonna have some Boy Scouts helping us carrying materials at the Robinson Family's Yard tomorrow morning. It's fun.
Is there anything we have not discussed that was not anticipated?
I wrote down, and I think I forwarded this email, East Street Estates is before planning board. And I looked at the plan, I think it's exactly the same as already approved, but if we wanted to make any comments. That for planning, well, if we wanted to do a comment letter, I can certainly write a letter and say they have an order of conditions which expires this day and whatever.
Yeah, I was at the planning board meeting last night. Courier and Howland has taken over. And they said at last night's meeting, it's substantially the same. They did the stormwater calculations using an 8-inch storm, whereas previously it was a 6.7-inch storm. And I think they lowered the roadway a couple of feet. Which means the, I guess, whatever the thing that was building it up is shorter. But I think all the lot lines are the same.
The lot lines, so I wonder if it's enough change that it'll have to come before us for an amendment, but it's just the level of the roadway.
Yeah, and then there may be, yeah, so the detention pond may be bigger to handle.
Okay, well, they might, they may need an amendment then, I would think, if they've got updated.
So
I think they probably would, but
Yeah,
why is there a new, a new designer or whatever? A new engineering firm, is that what you said?
yeah, so anyway, Drew,
I have no idea why Alfonso hired somebody different to redo it, but he did.
Yeah, so I was just wondering why it was redone if it's substantially the same.
I have no idea.
Okay, I was just curious.
They had never been approved by planning board before, right, Bill? They had gone through conservation, but never made it through planning board, is that correct?
I don't know, I wasn't with the planning board.
That is correct. They I think Alfonso withdrew the planning board application first. But that was after the issue, Concom issue. This is interesting.
And apparently they had an arborist look at the tree as well, which is,
So I hope,
Yeah, not doing well.
but we talked about hiring our own arborist just so that we'd have basically an opinion the town paid for.
That's all.
That's it. Okay, so do motion to adjourn.
So moved. Okay.
Let's everyone go. Aye.
Tom, aye.
Alan, I.
Marcella, I.
Then you still-
No.
Sandy, I. All right.